Yo, 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 yo. What's up, everybody? Oh, how's everyone doing? Hopefully good. Hopefully swell. All right. Cool. So got a good number of people in here already, so we'll get into it. Listen, guys, I know it's a lot of doom and gloom on the timeline right now. But sometimes you got to zoom out, you know? You got to zoom out. You got to remember where we are. So you got to remember that, even though it seems like it's over, where were we just 2 months ago? We were contemplating, if we were ever going to break out of 25K, right? And we're going to go lower. And we thought it was over. But we've had 2 months basically of up only. Very easy conditions where you could buy almost anything and, be in profit not long after. So regardless of whether or not this is the top, right, you have to realize that life, trading, your P&L, everything really, you can't get shaken out of this, right? When in reality, it looks something like this, right? I'm not just saying this is just the chart. This can apply to so many different things. It can apply to your balance, right? Your P&L is not just going to go up only. On a high enough time frame, this is a straight line. But you got to just remember, right? We're moving up. And then there's a period of drawdown. Moving up, period of drawdown. But the key is the higher lows, right? Are we consistently progressing? Right? And so again, this could be about the chart itself. Up only is not this. Up only really is this, right? Maybe the pullbacks are shallow, but they still exist. Your P&L going up, having a profitable year, there's still going to be periods of drawdown, right? Periods where price isn't going vertical. And that's true in life as well. You're going to have, a great year, but there's going to be periods within that year that weren't so great. But the key is the higher lows, right? The key is that you're continually progressing. And the best way to ensure that you survive, this and don't get shooken out in these down periods is by maximizing what you do in the up periods and then protecting yourself in the down periods, right? And again, that goes for trading, that goes for life, that goes for so many things. So when we have easy mode, right, we want to be pressing on the gas. We want to be crushing. We want to be doing well. But then on these down periods, you don't want to erase all the hard work, all the money, all the progress you made in that up move on the pullback, which inevitably ends up leading to a higher up move anyways. So whether or not this up only environment is over or not, it's too early to tell. The bottom line is, if you have more money than you did in September, that's only 2 months ago, you're doing good. If your stack is bigger, you're doing well. If you made money, you're doing well. You didn't have to long the highest beta coin. You didn't have to keep 100% of everything that you made. As long as you're progressing, you're moving forward and not backwards, you should be happy, be proud, and recognize that you're on the right path. Don't be afraid to be proud of the progress that you've made and feel like you've done a good job. One of the biggest problems with social media, whether this is Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, or whatever, is you're inundated with information. You're inundated with videos, pictures of, someone who's lifted more at the gym than you, someone who's got a nicer watch than you, they got a better car, they longed a coin that went up more than yours. They are posting a P&L with an extra zero, right? And if you focus on that shit, you are going to be eternally disappointed in your own performance, your own trading, your own improvements at the gym, right? So don't let what you see online control and change your perception of your own performance, your own journey, because none of that shit affects you. however much money someone else makes, however much, what coin they long that you didn't, it does not affect you whatsoever. In trading and in life, right? It's you against the future you. It's you against you of the past. So you just want to keep progressing. So maybe we're going to be entering one of these down periods, right? For a little bit. I don't know. Maybe we just get another green candle tomorrow and everything goes back up. I don't know yet. But over the last year, what is the direction price has gone? Right? We had a down move, then a big up move, down move, then a big up move. Maybe we have another down move before continued higher. I don't know. But do you have more money than you did here? Do you have more money than you did here? If so, you're on the right track. You're on the right track. Okay? So don't be so hard on yourself. Okay? It's all good. And if this is the beginning of a bull run and we're going to make all-time highs, these pullbacks are going to be insignificant in hindsight. Because if we're going to end up here, you're not going to remember these pullbacks. So, and this advice is true for trading. It's true for life in general. Comparison is the thief of joy. Right? Don't compare yourself to others and assume because you're not doing what they're doing, you're not in the same coin that went up more than the coin you're in, that you're not doing a good job. If you have more money now than you did 2 months ago, than you did a year ago, you're on the right track. All right? So, with that philosophical Mayne rant out of the way, let's get into what happened today. And I'm sorry it's very dark in here. I live in Canada. It gets dark at 4 o'clock now. That's just what happens. I can turn on some lights in the background. I don't know if that's preferred. You guys can tell me. Let's see if you guys like this better. Is that better or worse? What if I do like warm kind of yellow? Is that better? I don't know. You guys let me know in the chat, but it's fucking dark here. It's winter. Okay? It is what it is. So, CZ Binance situation effectively has been resolved. Now, whether or not this is the last we hear of it, that is yet to be seen. You guys want blue? Is blue good? Let's try that. So whether or not this is the last we hear from it, I don't know. But I'll kind of give you the TLDR of the Binance situation. And then we can kind of get into the charts. And if you guys have any questions, comments about it, obviously I'm not an expert. I only know the same amount that you know, what's been posted and available on Twitter. CZ, fellow Canadian, right? Just like the Quadriga guy. Excuse me. Is out. So Binance has now been fined $4 billion. Now we all know what the 4 meant. Everyone drop a 4 in the chat for the boy CZ. Drop a 4 to pay respects. But they've been fined $4 billion. CZ has been asked to step down. He's been personally fined. He is facing jail time if he doesn't comply with all the things that they're asking. So that's not good for him. And they've put in some new guys, CEO. I think he was like the CFO or something like that before, the CIO. The DOJ is also going to have oversight into Binance over the next 3 years. They said that he basically knowingly was letting Americans trade on the platform, knowingly, caused the bank run on FTX that caused people to lose billions. knowingly was helping in money laundering, fraud, all sorts of shit with, terrorism, allowing these terrorist groups to transact on the platform. So not good stuff for Binance. And who knows now that the DOJ is basically going to be inside there, what they will find. Perhaps you're an American and you were trading on Binance and you didn't pay taxes. Maybe you get audited now. I don't know. But they're going to be going through there with a fine-tooth comb. Okay? And obviously, there was a lot of bad stuff and shady stuff that went on there. But I've had some people say, well, dude, you hated Sam and like CZ's bad too. Here's the difference. Sam stole our money, right? Sam took customer funds to cover the losses of his shitty hedge fund. Okay? As much as CZ had broken laws and things like that, you can still trade there. You can still withdraw your money. He didn't manipulate the markets and steal your money from you. Does that mean he's perfect? Of course not. He made many mistakes. I do think this outcome could have been a whole lot worse. Binance is still here. Are they going to lose a lot of market share? Probably. Are a lot of people going to get their money off there and not want to trade there anymore? We already saw like over $1 billion in customer withdrawals today. So probably, yes. But at least the exchange still operates, right? You can still go on there, withdraw your money. If you live in a non-banned jurisdiction, you can, still trade there. CZ was one of us. He's a crypto native for a long time. He built a business that has over 100 million users, 150 million users. Okay. So he built an incredibly large business that definitely moved crypto forward. He didn't do it perfectly. Of course, he made mistakes, and now he is going to pay for those mistakes. Maybe he spends time in jail. He's paying hefty fines. But I think it could have ended up a lot worse. And I do think that now there is no longer this gray cloud of what's going to happen to Binance over crypto. So I do think that news overall is relatively bullish. I do think it maybe paves the way to saying, okay, now that they've dealt with Binance, none of these firms are in the US anymore. Maybe that paves the way for the ETF in January. But now we don't know what we're getting, right? Loma quoted this. He said, "The devil you know is better than the devil you don't." And I thought that was a good quote because we don't know who's going to really take over, what it's going to be like having, the DOJ involved in Binance for the next 3 years. It does seem like America is basically taking the stance that they do not want crypto innovation to spawn in America. They're saying, hey, play by our rules, and the rules are not very well laid out or described. You saw this with the SEC going after Kraken just yesterday, basically saying, you got to comply if you want to operate in the US, but there's no real clear path to regulatory compliance. So, it's unfortunate because you think, America, you'd want that to be an area where they foster that type of innovation, but it doesn't seem like that's the case. But I do think it could have been a lot worse. I was hoping the market would react more bullishly because I do think this is, under it all, I think it's bullish news. I do think we're paving the way for a much stricter, more heavily regulated, more controlled by the traditional finance powers that be type of market. Perhaps the Wild West crypto days are coming to an end. It doesn't mean you can't make money, right? It doesn't mean money won't be made, but there's going to be diminishing returns on a lot of these things. Some of these Ponzi's that would never be able to spin up anymore, and things where you can really, see them go absolutely nuts because there are no rules. I do think that we are having, that pathway is becoming clearer and clearer. It's going to get more regulated. The suits are coming. And that's not going to be good. Crypto is going to become more like traditional finance, trade more like traditional finance. It doesn't mean you can't make money. There's still lots of ways to make money in the traditional finance world, but the information inequality gap is going to continually grow and has been. We were tweeting with CZ, and that's not going to happen anymore. You're not gonna see that with this new CEO where he's going back and forth with people on Twitter and posting memes and things like that. So I'm not saying that you won't be able to make money. I'm not saying crypto is dead by any means, but it is changing and it's going to get more regulated. Does that mean we never have a bull run again? I don't know, but maybe the bull runs aren't as drastic. You know what I mean? But the regulators are catching up. They're still moving quite slow, but it's not. It's becoming less and less like the times of old with every passing day. So 4 in the chat, RIP to CZ. He was a real one for crypto. Sorry. And so let's get into the charts here, guys, because as you know, I don't really trade based off the news. I trade based off the charts. So overall, I think high time frame, the charts still look fine. Like looking at this monthly chart, I don't really see how this is bearish. On a monthly time frame, really anything down into here is a buy, right? For me, based on the monthly time frame. Just like anything down into here was a buy, right? Just like anything down into here was a buy. So the monthly time frame, to me, the trend is still up. We have higher lows and higher highs. You have a low, a high, right? A higher low, break in market structure here, and a higher high. So the monthly time frame is still bullish. The issue with the monthly time frame is, let's say we do get a very sharp pullback into here. Well, that's more than 10%. That's 20% pullback from where we are now. If you're trading leverage, you're going to get fucked, right? If you're trading altcoins, you're going to get fucked on that type of pullback. So it's very easy to be like, don't worry, guys, the high time frame says we're going higher, when I know a lot of you are actively trading, you're trading on leverage, you're in altcoins, you're diversified in altcoins. These markets are extremely correlated. And if we get a 10, 15, 20% pullback on Bitcoin, expect altcoins to get slaughtered. Okay? Slaughtered. So I'm not saying that that's going to happen. We do not have to give that nice, kind of classic retest. But what I am saying is you can be bullish high time frame on a big pullback, right? And then price ends up making a new high. But if you were longing during this entire pullback, you're going to get smoked, right? Like if you were longing here, even though price resolved higher, you can get licked. You can lose all your money there, right? So you got to be careful. If we are going to see a larger pullback, that it can fall pretty significantly. Even a shallower pullback could still be 10+%. And altcoins, if you're trading high leverage, like that type of stuff, you're going to get smoked. So what you don't want to do, and this goes back to my analogy from the start of the video, is you do not want to give up all the progress you made here on one of these, right? So if your P&L is going like this over the last 2 months, the last thing you want is one of these setting you back to where you were 2 months ago, and then you got started all over again, right? So I would exercise caution. Again, we can go up from here. I'm not saying that, we're for sure going to pull back 10, 15%, but be aware that we're into resistance. We didn't really get a great reaction from the news. We took out last month's high. There is a chance that we see some sort of correction or even just ranging, right? So perhaps we're no longer in this mode where you can just buy anything, it goes up. Maybe price is going to go into this type of mode where it does eventually go up, but it ranges for the next month or two, and it's a little bit choppier and it's a little bit harder to trade than what we've had over the last 2 months, because basically since the start of September, this uptrend, especially on a lot of altcoins, you could buy almost anywhere and end up in profit a few days later. So maybe that's changing, right? We had this consolidation here. We broke out. Now we're still consolidating. So really what I would like to see to kind of make a decision on what I think is most likely, is I'd like to see one of two things happen. I would either like to see confirmed strength above the highs, right? So take out, we now have 1, 2, 3 highs here that are untouched. Get above those highs, put in some strength, and then buy on strength, or finally run some of these lows and then buy that nuke. Those are kind of the two scenarios that I'm looking to see happen. We have this big fair value gap down here, so we could run some of these lows, into this fair value gap and then get the move up. But this type of grindy price action like this, I don't have the greatest edge in this type of environment. I don't have an extremely confident bias in this type of environment. So I'd much rather the market tip its hand, right? So I want the market to give me a clue as to what is to come next, right? So a perfect example of that, is here. So when the market was chopping around here, we saw a move down, but then we saw that move down get bought up. And what the market did is it put in these two big gaps here. This is called displacement or a fair value gap. But to me, this is a sign that the market has a willingness to go up. So when we made this next consolidation, my bias was still bullish. I was still looking for reasons to go up because to me, the run of these lows and then the reaction was a clue that the market wanted to go higher. So if we get something similar here, where the market pulls back, but then we get a very nice reaction and we put in a couple moves up like this with a gap, that to me is a sign of strength. So we have these lows here at 34, and then we have a couple other lows at 32 to 33. So I would wait until we nuke those lows and then look for reasons to get long on some sort of sweep or some sort of fair value gap or something along those lines. Or I just want to see the market put in a little bit more of a bullish move, right? So maybe that means that, hey, it's going to go up from here to here. I'm going to miss the first part of this move, but then I can look to get long on some sort of retest. So I don't need to catch, right? I've been long from here. If we're going up to here and I sell or I'm not long, leverage or whatever, and then I need to get long here, I'm okay missing a small part of the move. Because if the move is like this, if you long this part of it, you're happy. You got the majority of it. You got the meat of the move. So you don't need to catch the entire thing. But I genuinely don't love this PA. I don't have like a clear edge where I'm like, okay, this for sure goes higher from right here. I don't know. So I'd wait to see if we get some sort of deeper pullback from, 32 to 34K, or just some consistent bullish PA. Maybe it's a low time frame uptrend. Maybe it's a fresh high above here. And then I look to get back involved on the leverage side. But just on Bitcoin specifically, I don't have the clearest view. Maybe it's just going to go sideways in range. Well, if it's going to range, right? Let's say this is our range. I fucking hate that. Why won't it let me? I hate that. Like it won't do as I say. So if this is our range, like from here to here, or from here to here, depending on how you want to draw it, let's say. If this is our range, I would still like to long closer to the range lows, right, than the mid-range. So I just need to wait, right? So, like I'm not always going to have the high probability this is exactly the trade I want to take and it makes perfect sense and I'm going to ape it and I'm going to 100% be right. It's not always the case. It's not always the case. So I don't have the best read. I mean, you could argue that there's a breaker here on Bitcoin and maybe this is where the higher low forms. Right? You could argue this is it right here. You have your fib from here to here. And, maybe this is it. Maybe this is the higher low right here. Maybe we sweep a little bit lower and we take out this low and we put a sweep in there. That might be something I'm interested in. But where we're trading right now, the current price, based on the strategy that I trade, I don't have a long setup. But if you're bullish, right, I would want to see something happen from this gray box, whether it's a sweep of this or just a move up from here. That would be the ideal, because I don't think it just sweeps this low. Like, I think if we do come down, I think we would probably sweep these lows over here as well. And again, right, a sweep down to 30K, 33K is almost 10%. So if we have a 10% pullback, alts are going to get smacked, right? So we'll wait and see. This is an area where I could see us get a bounce. We have this raid candle after this sweep here. I would have liked to see, maybe this candle hold as a sweep. At one point during the day, this was looking like it was going to be a sweep. Maybe we come and sweep this low. But if you're looking to long in this area, to me, this is the invalidation for now before a much larger correction. So 34.5 would kind of be my invalidation for, a much larger correction. Lose that area, I think it's likely that we at least sweep the 33K level, and then we see. So we'll see what happens from here. I'm not in a leverage trade on Bitcoin, but I also haven't sold like a bunch of my spot. I'm still willing to hold that. I've got these lows marked out here, right? 33K lows. Then you obviously have this low here. So we'll see. We'll see if we're going to run any of these lows over the next couple of days. We have a short week this week. We have Thanksgiving. So who knows? But I don't know what other bad news could come out that would negatively affect price anymore, right? Like, they sued Kraken, CZ is stepped down, Sam is gone, SBF is gone, Do Kwon is gone, Mashinsky is gone. Like, they're all gone. Who's left? Barry is gone. So I don't know what else could come out negatively, and we still have the ETF announcement to potentially get approved and go live, right, as early as January, which I think would be bullish. So I'm still bullish overall. I'm still absolutely bullish on the high time frame, but the conditions over the last few weeks are not as easy as they were over the last 2 months. So I'm not interested in giving back the money that I made back in September, going into October and the start of November, especially with altcoins in November, right? I'm not interested in giving that money back. Sorry. Excuse me. I'm not interested in giving that money back, trying to chase in what I would consider lower probability conditions. I don't have as strong of a bias here. I don't have as strong of a view. So it's a lot harder for me to justify, taking some big leverage swing position or some big alt swing position here. I don't want to risk it, right? You want to lock in those gains. You want to continue to build that portfolio, build that stack. And then when the next high probability setup and high probability environment make themselves appear, that's when you get back in front of it, right? All right, let's get a quick look at the chat here. Over on Twitch, let's see. Motivation with Mayne, exactly. It's going good, Dilemma. How are you? I'm not 40 years old. Fuck you, bro. Did you draw that vertical up only structure just for fun? Of course. Binance news is bullish, my opinion. I agree. Sponsor. Yes, these videos are sponsored by Prime XBT. If you want to support your boy, best way to do that is to use one of my ref links. These videos are sponsored by Prime XBT. Best way to sign up, get a deposit bonus is in the description of this video. Click the link, sign up, put in code Mayne20 for a 20% deposit bonus on your deposit. Can trade assets there like gold, silver, the US 500, nat gas, oil, obviously crypto as well, all with crypto as collateral. It is geo-blocked in Canada, US, and some of the countries in Europe. So check for your availability before signing up and sending money over there. But if you want to support me and support the channel, leave likes, leave comments, retweets, use my ref links. So shout out to Prime. Thank you so much. Appreciate the reminder there, brother. He got bonded out for 175 mil. Well, goddamn. I think he'll do the Arthur 2.0, pay and do house arrest. Yeah, there's a very good chance. We need to find his alt account. That's what we need. We need the CZ alt account because we need to know what altcoins he's going to be aping into on chain. Yeah, they definitely don't want to foster innovation unless they get a piece, right? The U.S. is not interested in crypto having a home in the U.S. unless the U.S. is getting a piece. That's just how it works, right? They don't want you to get rich. They don't want you, right, to be free and have the ability to manage your own money and build wealth and escape the rat race. They don't want that for you. They want you to own nothing and be happy. They want you to eat bugs. They want you to live in some sort of fucking 15-minute bullshit city with their central bank-backed digital currencies and all that bullshit. They want to make it mandatory that you can only spend so much on gas and you can only spend so much on airplanes because of the carbon footprint. And they want to control that because they want to control your money. They don't want you to be able to get out of the system, right? Like, as much as people might hate on guys like Andrew Tate and all this stuff and the Matrix, talking of the Matrix, I mean, they're not wrong, right? Like, you just got to have eyes to see that the government does not want you out of the rat race. They don't want you to have financial freedom. If they did, right? If they did, things like this wouldn't happen. They would foster this type of technology, right? They would give these companies a clear path to getting regulated so the US market and Canadian markets, etc., can participate. But they don't want that, right? They want their piece of the pie. That's how it's always been. It's like that meme. They always want their piece of the pie. I'm buying dips to add to positions instead of trying to overtrade myself out of wealth. Sounds pretty smart, bro. Question for you, brother. So if you're in spot, are you offloading on bounces if you continue to see weakness or wait for confirmations, high time frame? I'm not really interested in selling spot until we get like some sort of weekly kind of bearish structure, maybe on the 3-day even. Like, we get some sort of significant candle closes on the high time frame below some of these lows, that might change my mind. If we trade back below this range, absolutely, I think I would assume we're going much lower. So I'd probably want to sell spot on a bounce. But up here, I'm not interested in selling yet. Yeah, there's some signs of rejection here in this weekly fair value gap. We're seeing that. But it's still too early to tell if this is a top. And my spot buys are from here and here. So I'm willing to give some of that back in anticipation of potentially higher prices. Yeah, I'm definitely still underwater on my ETH long here. So I took this Ethereum long. Did I watch the GP? Yeah, I saw that. That's why I went to Vegas for. I was there for Formula One. It was so sick. The night race was so fucking cool. Highly suggest you see Formula One if you ever have an opportunity. It's a very cool event, very fun. And I love Vegas. I love gambling. I always have a good time. Saw the boys, saw Ponzi, saw Rookie. So some of the boys were out there, which is always a good time. Partied it up, did a lot of gambling, saw the races. It was a lot of fun. How do you think about differentiating buying spot versus trading on leverage? Thanks, man. I mean, they are the same when you think about it. Like, when you trade spot, you still need to have a trade idea. You still need to know where you want to buy and why, and where that idea is wrong and where it's right. All those things remain the same. But I generally am buying spot when I'm planning on holding the position for a significantly long period of time because I don't want to have to pay for funding and that kind of bullshit. I also think it's a lot easier to hold spot positions because you don't see your P&L fluctuate, right? If you buy spot, you still own the same amount of coins regardless of what price does. Whereas if you're in a leverage position, you can see that P&L number fluctuate massively. That can make it kind of hard. But the principles of it, you still got to have the same, key elements, whether it's spot or leverage. Greg says, crypto winter is officially here. We're starting a true bear market. Okay, what was this, Greg? Just if we're starting the bear market now, what was this? What was that? What was this year and a half? Was this not the bear market? Was this the pre-bear market? Is that what that was? Are you saying we're going down another 90% from where we're at now? Is that what you're saying? Because we already went down 80% over a year and a half, but we're now starting the bear market. Okay. That makes sense. That makes sense to me, Greg. Thank you for that very, very solid input there. We appreciate that. What's up, Ari? Am I a DJ? No. Jesus Christ, Sal. I'm not even reading that message. That's horrible. All right, a lot of fours in the chat. Yeah, GCR called it, I guess. I mean, so did Kobe. A lot of people predicted it was over for CZ. I mean, it's not necessarily like a revolutionary take. Everyone knew he was doing some shady stuff. It was just a matter of when they were going to catch up to him, and it did today. Mayne, I got a question for you. In the moment that BTC hypothetically falls 10%, which alts would you choose to short? The ones that heat volume lately, which would mean higher percent gains, lower? So there's a technical answer to this, and then there's a much simpler answer. So I'll give you the much simpler answer. To me, the simplest answer is you want to trade the one in which you see the easiest setup, right? And I talk about this all the time. I think people get obsessed with finding the higher beta play. They always want to find the coin that's going to go up the most or the coin that's going to go down the most. And they're always obsessed with finding that biggest gainer or biggest loser. And that's the one that you want to trade. Obviously, that's the ideal. But there's almost always going to be a coin that goes up more than the coin that you long. There's almost always going to be a coin that goes down more than the coin that you short. I think a much better strategy is finding the chart where you can most easily identify where your entry would be, where your risk is, where's your idea wrong, what's the invalidation, and where you would target. Because if you don't know those things, you don't have a trade anyways, right? So that would be what I would do and what I focus on. I'm not always concerned about finding the coin that went up the most. It's the coin or the setup that is the most easy for me to identify. Now, if you're super keen and you want tips on how can you find the higher beta plays, you're going to want to use your cross-market analysis. If you think Bitcoin is going to pull back 10%, so you want to get short some alts, I would then go and look at what alts look the weakest versus Bitcoin, versus Ethereum, versus Solana. Because if you're trying to short Solana, right, it looks pretty good against BTC and Ethereum. So if BTC dumps, yeah, it will go down, but probably not as much as something like, that looks like shit versus BTC and versus Ethereum. So if you're trying to find the higher beta play, you're going to want to use that cross-market analysis to do so, okay? Look at what coins are underperforming versus BTC and ETH And if ETH and BTC get that larger correction, those coins are likely going to bleed harder. What's up, Mark? How you doing, bro? Everyone's saying Greg is taking the piss. I don't know what Greg said here. I can't even see his comment. Mayne, on your H1M1 system, would you incorporate time or price or kill zones? If so, how? Yeah, you absolutely. If you're scalping and you're trading during the kill zones, right, those are going to give you your higher probability setups during New York, during the London session. So absolutely time is a part of that. What did Greg say, guys? Tell me. Oh, Greg, I read Greg's comment. I roasted him. My bad. Have you tried on-chain perp dexes? Yes, some of them are getting better. Early on, I feel like a lot of them were lacking features, right? They're lacking features that I would want, like the ability to put in limit orders and things like that. But I know that a lot of them are adding that now. Some of them had quite high fees. But again, I know that they're improving. I haven't spent a ton of time using on-chain perp dexes. I do think that that's a good direction for the market to go. Because again, then you're self-custodying your coins. But yeah, I don't have a ton of experience with them personally. All right, so let's look at Ethereum here, guys. So Ethereum, I took a long based on this H12 sweep. So we're in an H12 sweep here. Okay, and then we have a breaker here. So here's your up candle for your down move that took out the low. We don't have a market structure break. You could argue this is a market structure break, but in reality, I want the market structure level before the sweep, which is all the way up here. So this wasn't a plus setup. This is more like a, kind of a C plus or B setup because we don't have the market structure shift. I want the sweep, and then I want the market structure shift of the high before the sweep. That's the A plus setup there. Now, if you go down to like the 6-hour chart, no, not even. No on the 6-hour, 4-hour. So the 4-hour, for example, you have the breaker here and you have the market structure break here. So the signal's better on the 4-hour. But this is an H12 setup. So I'm entering on the H12 sweep, the H12 breaker, but without the market structure break. So it's not kind of that A tier setup. But I still wanted to take it. I still thought it was good enough to pull trigger on. So I did. So I pulled trigger on it. We got a very nice bounce to start the day. Came in, filled me, bounced. We were as high as like 2030. Obviously, have sold back off. Getting a little bit of a bounce here. So looking at this right now, I really would want to see us reclaim, and we're trying to, right? I'd really want to see us kind of reclaim this price level here. Like, I think we need to get above my entry, basically, and then hold this as support for higher. So if this setup's going to work out, I would like to see us get above my entry. The worst case scenario here is my entry becomes resistance, and we just nuke down. But this is a trade where I'm risking a small percentage of my account. So if I get stopped out, it's not the end of the world. But it looked a whole lot better when I woke up this morning, and this was just like a very nice long wick, right? Like I woke up this morning, we had wicked in, and we were trading up here. Obviously, looks a lot worse now. So I want to see us get back above this 1970 area, and I'd like to see that hold as support. And then ideally, if this trade idea is going to play out, this needs to become a breaker. So there's your low that gets run. I need to see price really get above here. If we get above there, then I absolutely think it's time to go and run those equal highs. But it's looking a whole lot less likely right now. Right now, it looks like my entry may end up being resistance, right? So my entry is here. This might end up being resistance, and we might just nuke from here. And if that's the case, I'll be stopped out and I'll lose some money. And that happens, right? So ideally, this is it. We go up from here. We take out those equal highs at 2150. Ethereum still has not made a yearly high, right? Which is just horrendous. It's been substantially weaker than the rest of the market. So I'd like to see that happen if we're going to get a larger correction. So I mentioned, a move back to 32, 33K on Bitcoin. If we're going to get a very large correction, right? Well, where does 10% on ETH put us? It puts us right into this high time frame breaker setup. So to me, if we're going to get a large correction on Bitcoin, I'm looking to buy Ethereum 1800 down to, 1750. I'd be looking to get some sort of significant correction, and that's where I'd be looking to buy the dip if we get a very big pullback on Bitcoin. So I'm talking 10% plus. I'm then looking to buy into this weekly breaker. We have the up candle that took out this low. We broke the market structure level here. That is the logical retest here of where I would like to get long for the next leg up if we're going to have a much larger market-wide correction. Obviously, I would prefer that we don't. I would prefer that the correction is shallow. I'd prefer that the low is already in and that we go up from here, because in that way, my long goes into profit and I don't lose any money. Could we have a sweep of this low and then go higher? Sure. Could we sweep this low and then go higher? Yes. But I think that if my stop is triggered and it's anything but an SFP, so if we get a close through here, I think the likelihood of us trading down to here is much higher. So set 1800 down to about 1720 would be my buy the dip zone on a very large market-wide correction on Ethereum. Any questions there? Because the weekly, to me, this is still an A1 setup here. Because you look at the monthly as well. We had a big monthly sweep here into this level. So to me, this weekly setup is A1. If we get a pullback here, I'm punting huge on that. Don't know if it will come back that far. That would require a significant pullback on Bitcoin. But if that happens, I'm punting there. Link Marine, buy Link while it's still cheap. My entry is better than yours, bro. You come on these streams every week and you say, buy Link. Link, you're not bullish Link, you're bearish Link. I was bullish Link before all the people on Twitter who were telling you to buy it at $15 were. How many people got bullish on Link when it was trading at $15? Right? They all got bullish here. I told you to buy it here. I told you to buy it way back here. Telling me to buy it while it's cheap. I bought it while it was cheap. I bought it while it was cheaper than anyone else. Where the fuck is my chart with it? No, fuck you. Jesus, I'm so angry I can't even type. That's how mad I am at you. Here, I posted this back in June, bro. Stop telling me about Link. I posted this on Twitter in June at $6. It did a 2x. Can it go higher? Sure. But most of the people you see telling you to long Link told you to long it in these candles here. Your boy Mayne, he had you juiced at the lows. Shouldn't you cut it while it's trading close to break even? Why? Here's the problem with that logic. And sure, if you're in a trade like this, okay? Let's say this is your setup. Price comes into your level, you get filled, okay? Goes up a bit, and then it goes like this. And you say, oh, fuck, it's not working out. Comes up towards break even, you close. How mentally fucked are you going to be if it then does this? Right? You're going to be pissed. Maybe you ate back in, or you do something stupid, or you FOMO, right? You're going to be pissed. Why close it here if my invalidation was here? Before I entered the trade, I was ready to have price trade as low as here without being wrong. And if it traded to this level, I was prepared to lose the amount of money I put up on that trade before I even entered it. So if you're exiting your trade before it gets to here or here, you have to ask yourself why. Because this is where I think it's going to go, and this is where I think I'm wrong. So any level in between that, theoretically, I shouldn't touch it. So the whole closed for break even fallacy, in my opinion, is dumb. I was prepared to lose this money. So why would I close it here? Because what if it ends up going up, right? Then you're going to be pissed. Now, if you think things have changed, if you think that the market or your setup is no longer valid and it's close to break even, or you want to cut it at a smaller loss, or you want to take profit before your TP for whatever reasons, of course you can do it. And I do that all the time. I will close positions before stop outs. I will take profit a little early. I do all sorts of things. I'll take partials. But I've been doing this a very long time. For new people, especially if you're new to trading, I think a really good piece of advice is let the trade play out. If you entered here, it should be for a reason. If your stop is here, it should be for a reason. If your TP is here, it should be for a reason. So if you're entering the trade and then closing it here because someone on Twitter said something and then it does this, you're going to be fucking annoyed. You're going to be pissed. If you're in a trade and it goes down to here and then it goes up, right, and you close it, you're going to be fucking pissed. So trust your setup. So I did this on Link. If you're in the Haven, I posted this trade on Link here. Right here. I posted it on Telegram too. I longed this retest here. So I took this exact trade. And it just wasn't going. It was dicking around, and then it did this. And I kind of was like, it looks kind of ugly. I closed it. It ended up being an SFP, and then it ended up ripping. That's extremely frustrating, right? But you're over analyzing. My trade idea was not wrong till here, so why would I close it before then? And maybe you'll be right. Maybe this will get stopped out. And I could have closed it at close to break even. But I went into this trade prepared to lose this money, and technically my trade idea is not wrong until here. So I'm just going to let it ride. How do you look at TPs for spot trades? How do you look at TPs for leverage trades? Why is it any different? I got to withdraw after what happened with Kraken. I don't know. I don't really know. I don't use Kraken. What's my alt account? I don't know what you're talking about, bro. I don't know what you're talking about. Blockchain Inc. has 550 link. That's killer entry, bro. Mr. Dorito, I love you too, bro. All right, guys. So let's look at FBTC. So I talked about this retest here on the 3-day. And the 12-hour, basically we have a breaker here. Up candle for the down move. Technically, the breaker is here. And you could take this entire zone, right? But effectively, I said I want to see this retest hold. Like if this is the low for FBTC and we're front running this low and this high time frame demand, I wanted to see this retest hold. Looks like it's holding for now. But yeah, definitely need to see this retest hold because if we break up again on Bitcoin and this thing fucking nukes, it's going to get ugly and ETH is going to continue to underperform massively. So being someone that owns a lot of Ethereum, I would like to see this be the low on FBTC. And I'd like to see us trade back towards 0.6 and even higher. Because if we trade down through here, and Bitcoin goes up to 40K or something like that, and we trade down through here, Ethereum's going to look pitiful. And if we trade down through here and Bitcoin dumps, guess what? Ethereum's going to dump even harder. So to that person that asked me, if Bitcoin's going to have a large correction, how do I know what altcoin to short? Well, go and look at the alt BTC pair, right? And if this pair is making lower lows and lower highs, and then the whole market corrects, that alt is going to get smoked harder than Bitcoin. So if you're ever looking for which altcoin you should trade, compare it against Bitcoin, compare it against Ethereum, compare it against a strong alt like Solana, and compare it against any alt. You can go in here and you can type in LTC USD divided by Sol USD. Okay? And that will give you LTC over Sol, right? Which obviously we will know will be in a massive downtrend, right? Because Sol is shit kicking LTC. But you can see that comparison. You can do this for any assets, any coins, whatever you want. So if you're like, should I short FET or should I short, I don't know, fucking sushi? I have no fucking clue. I'm just pulling these out of my ass. This would give you the FET sushi pair. And you could see which of the two is stronger. And if the market's going to correct, and this is in a downtrend, you would want to short FET. If the market's going to correct, and this is in an uptrend, you're going to want to short sushi. Okay, so let's look. Let's just literally do that. So you type it in. Okay, then you hit divide. Then you type in the other asset. And you get the comparison. So this is effectively FET over sushi, the same way you can do BTC, right? This gives you that same thing. So if I were to go look at FET and I was going to look at sushi, what one do you think would be doing better based on this chart? Obviously, the numerator. So if the fraction is in an uptrend, the alt BTC fraction, or the alt and then the other alt. So like if the numerator and the denominator, right? Because that's all this is. The numerator, if the chart is going up, the numerator is stronger. The chart is going down, the denominator is stronger. It's just math. No, I'm not using a pen. I'm using this thing called Epic Pen, and I draw with my mouth. My mouse, not my mouth. Hello. Penis. Okay. So does that make sense? I know some people are saying, look at BTC on Bitrex. But Bitrex is closing down, right? So I don't know what's going on over there. But I imagine this has... there's no liquidity here because the exchange is closing. But yeah, wouldn't it be sweet if this fucking price action that we're in right now resolves like this? I would be okay with that. Maybe this is a sign of things to come. I don't know. But this exchange is closing down. This is not real. So I don't know. Maybe it is. I don't know. But I wouldn't be looking at this chart. The exchange is defunct. Shouldn't you actually short a better trade setup rather than pick a coin based on the ratios? I did a whole rant about that. I said people are obsessed with the higher beta play. Your primary goal should be finding the trade and setup that you see the most easily. It's the most identifiable to you. But if you want to take it another level, that's how you do it, right? Crazy. I didn't know you could hit divide like that on TradingView. I know. Lucas says, hey, yo, that's fucking alpha, guys. I have a series called the Altcoin series on my YouTube, and I have 2 videos where I go over the ratios and I go over comparing alts against each other. And I think it's something that people fundamentally don't understand, and it's shocking. That's why I use the dollar right? People are always like, why are you always looking at DXY? What the fuck do you think this is? It's this. So if I know what this is, and I know that this is bullish, and this is bearish, right? Or this is bullish, I can make those same assumptions, or those same predictions, right? Because I don't know if it's going to happen. It's an educated guess. So that's why I got bullish on the dollar here, and I was bearish on Bitcoin in July, and that was the top. And then when the dollar topped out, September 25th, the dollar tops out. September 25th, Bitcoin starts to rip. It's the same concept. It's just a fraction. When entering a stop loss, how far away do you usually place them from the level you chart out? The stop loss goes where the trade idea is wrong. So for me, typically I'm putting it under an SFP, high or low. I'll usually give it a little bit of breathing room. So for example here, the SFP low on the H12 is right there. Right? So maybe I'll put it a couple points there, below there. But the trade idea is wrong below that low. Link Marine says he's going to compare all the alts to Link versus when he gets home. Okay, well, let's look at this. Let's see how your Link's doing versus Solana. Not bad. Doing okay recently. Kind of going sideways. Kind of even. Let's look at... All right, so Solana's been... Link was shit kicking for a while here. Solana's been shit kicking for the most recent bit. Link's absolutely been crushing Ethereum. Right? So for the last few months here, since June, Link is up 175% relative to Ethereum. But keep in mind, this is what Link's looked like since August of 2020. So even to now, since August, it's down 85% relative to Ethereum. So perspective is everything. Don't marry your bag. Don't make your username a coin, Link Marine. Because then you're going to have a bias where you only want to focus on your one coin. And yeah, maybe your coin is doing well right now. But for a 3-year period of time, it was getting smashed. Ethereum outperformed Link for 3 straight years. Link has been outperforming Ethereum for 3 months. Right? Perspective. So don't marry a bag. Don't marry a bias. Be fluid. Go find the setups that are easy. Take those trades. Don't get tied up in the bullshit. So coin looking very good. I don't know if Bitcoin has a larger correction. Perhaps this up move is not ready to fully complete. But again, who told you first? Who's got 2 thumbs and deserves the clout? Oh wait, who has 2 thumbs? And deserves the clout? It's me, motherfucker. Everybody tweet, oh, coin, man. Coin looks so good. Who told you to buy coin at $75? Who? Me, motherfucker. So when it goes to 130, 150, and all these people are like, I fucking told you so, Mayne told you so too. I told you more so, in fact. I told you so before anyone else told you so. Someone asked about Nat Gas. I'm still in this trade. This is a multi-month swing. We've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 straight months of up. Even though it looks like, choppy and stuff, it's gone up a ton. Obviously, this is a pretty big, bearish candle here. But if you just delete all these drawings here for a moment, I'm under the assumption that this was a market structure break. So any sort of test of this area to me is just a bullish retest before another leg higher. So I'm not closing my trade. I'm still holding it. I still think we go higher. But yeah, it's obviously getting a pretty decent correction here. And it can come lower. We'll see. But to me, the monthly is just it's a big monthly retest happening right now. Mayne, hope you enjoyed Vegas F1. Race looked dope. You catch a Netflix golf tourney. Keep up the work. Appreciate you. I don't know what golf tourney you're referring to, but thank you. And F1 was very dope. Mayne, what percentage of your spot portfolio do you typically allocate to low caps, mid micros, high risk, or do you not think about those terms? Like 10 to 20%. The majority of my portfolio is going to be in Bitcoin and Ethereum, and things like Solana and other large caps. 10 to 20% in shitcoins. And if I had an alt account where I didn't have 500,000 followers and I'd get roasted for ever talking about a shitcoin, I'd probably talk about it on there, but I definitely don't have one. So what's up? Yeah, go travel. Vikram, how you doing, bro? After a big loss, how do you regain your confidence in your setups and abilities? So there's so many analogies for this, right? But if you're good at, you don't lose the skill. And really what it comes down to is if you have the reps, if you have the data, right, you trust the process. So if you're a basketball player, right, and you've taken 10,000 shots and over 10,000 free throws, you're going to hit 75% of them because that's just what you do. Over that period of 10,000 shots, there's going to be periods where you hit hundreds in a row, or tens, dozens in a row, and then miss a bunch in a row. There's going to be periods where you're really streaking and then not streaking. But over the long sample size, it's 75%. And trading is the same, right? You have all of this data because you've built this system, you've back tested it, you've forward tested it, thousands and thousands of data points and trades. There is going to be periods of time where you can take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 losses in a row, more. But over the long term, the system is profitable. So you have to keep taking the setups. Because if you stop taking them or you start adjusting midway, now you're throwing all your data off. Because that data was only relevant when you did the same thing every time. That's why it's called a system. It's systematic, right? So you got to trust your system, right? If it worked before and you have the data to back it up, there's going to be periods where it doesn't work. Now, can you take a break? Reset mentally? Of course, because what you don't want to do is take trades that are outside of your system. You don't want to take trades that are FOMO induced or whatever. You don't want to do any of that, right? You can reduce your risk if you think that, you want to size down a little bit and get your confidence back, by all means. You absolutely shouldn't double your risk. Don't do that. And if you're taking big losses, you have to ask yourself, are you risking too much? Are the losses big because you've taken a bunch of losses in a row? Or did you over position size and you took a trade with too much risk and you lost more than you wanted to? Because those are two different things. Losses that occur from a losing streak, that's part of the game. You're risking 2% per trade. You might lose 3 or 4 trades in a row, right? Then you can, maybe risk 1% on the next one. But if you risk 10% on one trade, right, that's how you fuck yourself. Because if you're doing 2% per trade, and yeah, you're losing some, but your equity curve's going like this. But then if you take one trade where it's 10% risk and you get it wrong, that's how you really fuck your shit up, right? So try and avoid that. Yo, I saw it in an old video. You talk about opening a prop firm. Is that still on the table or not? I don't know, but if it was, you might find out next week. I don't know. What was the indicator you sneak peeked us a few lives ago? Oh, you mean this one? You mean this one right here? that shorted the top on Bitcoin? You mean this one right here that shorted the top on Bitcoin? Is this the indicator you're referring to? 12-hour SFP, market structure break, entry, take profit, all your backtesting stats? You mean this one right here? Is this the one you're talking about? I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what indicator you're talking about. I don't know what that is. How are we feeling about Riot? Remember I drew this out on Riot? People were like, Mayne, it already gapped up. Mayne, it already gapped up. I said, my trade is based on the weekly. My trade is based on the monthly. Right? I took this as a high time frame trade. I saw the sweep. I saw that fair value gap here. And I said, I think this goes up. So I'm still very happy with how this looks. Because if you're bullish on crypto overall and you think we're entering a bull run and you think everything's going to go higher, this is a crypto mining company. All right, guys. All right, so let's. I have to go play basketball. So I gotta wrap this up here pretty quick. So let's look at a couple quick altcoins. So I know someone said World a bunch of times. Don't really have a view on this. I would say there's your range. I would say I guess I would use this. I'd use that fair value gap. Not my favorite setup. I'm not saying that the chart doesn't look bullish. I'm just saying I don't have the clearest setup here based on the H12. You know, based on the H4 even. Fuck was that noise? Jesus. Okay, sorry about that. I thought no one was home, but my girlfriend, I guess, is home. So I heard some noise out there. I was like, "What the fuck?" Had to grab the Glock. You know what I mean? The stick, the machine. Go make sure everything's okay. Okay, yeah. So World, I'm not saying it's bearish by any means. I just don't have a very good view on it. I don't you know what I mean? Like when the weekly looks like this, I don't have much to go on. You could argue that here's your 3-day order block. We have a 3-day sweep. So we're holding support here on the 3-day, right? You could even argue that this is kind of your raid candle here. So we're holding that support area, but again, I would need to see some more price. But it's in an uptrend, right? So if this thing makes a new high here, then this becomes a daily order block, and then I'd be looking to buy dips in that. That's how I'd view that. All right. TVK. No, that's a B. Isn't this the one that people are complaining about? They're saying, oh my God, SZ and XO and this person and that person are shilling it, so they must have paid insider deals. And then they're like, no, we didn't. We bought it on the market. And everyone's complaining. At the end of the day, it's fucking gone up a lot recently. So, who fucking cares? Just trade the chart, bro. That's a pretty ugly kind of dump here. So I'd probably want to see it reclaim this before being bullish again, right? Because otherwise, this is a bearish retest. There's your structure shift to the downside, and this is a pretty inefficient move to the upside. So it could correct pretty hard. But if it gets back above here, so let's call that, the 5 cent level, then it starts to look interesting again. Almost did a Pistorius. That is hilarious. C-bot. Is this it? Companion bot? Yeah, I would not again, some of these charts I just don't have a good read on. It's just not like the PA is not clean to me. I guess you could look at it like this. There's your 12-hour demand. I might even use that. This is the zone I'd want it to hold. So you have a bullish leg here, right? From this low, right? Yeah. From like down here to here, right? So the range is bullish. Then you have your demand in the lower part of the range. So this is where I'd want to see a hold. RLB, Rollbit. Why is Rollbit not giving? You know what you guys need to do? You guys need to go onto Lucky and Razor's tweets, and you need to ask them why they're not giving your boy Mayne a deal. Gainsy's not there anymore. They got the money. Give it to your boy Mayne. I would do hilarious slot streams, gambling streams. I could do a whole variety stream where I do charts and gamble, and it'd be fucking awesome. They just got to give me the bag. Rollbit not on any centralized exchanges yet? Crazy. Listen. Excuse me. It made a new high on the weekly here, right? That's a market structure break. It's getting a big correction, but there is lots of demand here, I would assume. So multiple weeks up, having a correction here. I'd be interested in buying, 12 to 14 cents, I think. And just looking at Rollbit, as a business, they're burning millions of dollars in tokens because that's their revenue. I think daily, the trading UI is sleek. They obviously have the gambling money as well. They just released that new Rollbit duels thing. So to me, I don't see them disappearing or going away or anything like that anytime soon. So I think it's a coin that probably does very well in a bull market. And I wish I had a monstrous bag, and I wish they would sponsor me. So there's my thoughts. Make sure you go fucking spam them and let them know. I might even set an alert here, just cause. OTC. I don't know what to say about this one, bro. Kind of hard to. Why didn't you tell me about it back there before it went up fucking thousands of percents? Where was the, hey, Mayne, go all in with 10 grand on OTC on November 1st and be up 100x? Where's that call? But yeah, I mean, look, this looks really bullish. Looks like it's about to make a new high. So I would wait for it to make a new high, right? Wait for it to make a new high, and that would probably look to buy any sort of move back if it gives it. BNB. I mean, I haven't looked at BNB since today happened. So yeah, I mean, something to consider, if you're in BNB, he held that 200 level, but if CZ is no longer involved in BNB or in Binance, and Binance is going to have oversight from the DOJ for the next 3 years, is it going to be as easy for them to move this coin up? I don't know. But there's a whole lot of better looking charts than this one if you're looking to be bullish on a market. A-Tor. That seems bad. Did this thing rug or something? I mean, yeah, that looks not great. It's down 75% this week. I don't know what this coin does. I don't know what the market cap is. I mean, you could arbitrarily say, okay, here's demand, right? Here's the down move that led to the move up, right? And it's already getting a big bounce here from this zone. But, I mean, that's a very horrendous sell-off. Pretty scary trying to catch that knife. I would maybe wait for something constructive on the low time frame. So we have a big low there. Maybe look for them to put in a higher high above here and then a higher low, right? So if it can maybe make a high and then put in a higher low, maybe it will get a bounce. But again, did this thing rug? What, did it get hacked? I don't know. But that's a very aggressive sell-off. So scary trying to catch a knife on something like that. Why is it the end of CZ Binance Era? What happened? Dre, have you been under a rock? CZ is no longer the CEO of Binance. He stepped down, and they're getting charged $4 billion. RNDR. So yeah, I mean, look, this has been in a killer uptrend. Again, don't know what this coin does. Have no clue. This is where I would want it to bounce, and it looks to be bouncing from there for now. So, if you're bullish on this thing, I'd say your invalidation's there, and you hope for a new high, right? ADA. Oh my God. Is this Charles Hoskins in the chat? Yeah, I mean, listen, it's, seeing a decent move up off the low here. Looks like it's trying to break out, but not yet. I mean, there's better looking coins, I think, to long. Don't really have the greatest view on this one. But if it doesn't go up from here, right, there's a bunch of lows here that could get swept. So I'd keep that in mind. If it doesn't hold this retest that it's formed right now, and assume, if Bitcoin and Ethereum pull back more, it's definitely going to take out these lows back into the low 30s. Man of the Bounce says, also want to say I'm up 300% this year thanks to your teachings, and I haven't paid you a cent. Laugh my ass off. Not that you need it, King. How do you know I don't need it, bro? How do you know I don't need it? Send your boy a buck. Send your boy a couple dollars. SPX, I mean, God, what a fucking epic bottom call this was. So I posted this one on Telegram in the Haven. I posted this one as absolute killer just based off of this monthly order block. Basically zero drawdown, 400 point move up. So that's a killer. That one was killer. I mean, this looks really strong still. Big sell-off, eliminated in 3 candles. So, Santa rally perhaps in the cards. Maybe we're going to make new highs on equities. This looks like it's going to new highs. I don't know about you. Maybe we get some sort of pullback here on NQ into this. But ultimately, this looks like it wants new all-time highs. You have things like NVIDIA, making fresh highs. I think it made a new all-time high today. Yeah, so pretty crazy. All right. So, yeah, guys, I'm going to end it here. I got to go to basketball. It's already been an hour and a half. But I'm back home for a little while, so get back on the regular stream schedule. And, if you guys want to support me, you want to help out, easiest way to do it, guys, I always tell you, interact with my stuff. Like my tweets on Twitter, leave comments, retweets, join the Discord, join the Telegram. All that stuff is free. All these YouTube videos are free. Leave likes, leave comments. Really helps me out. Use my ref links. They're in the description of this video. You can also find them all on my website, tradermayne.com. If you want a little bit more about me, my strategy, trade signals from myself, Loma, CBS, a bunch of other analysts who have been crushing it, come hang out in the Haven. Info on that's in the description as well. But yeah, we're going to be all right, guys. Keep on crushing. Love you guys. I'll be back with another video in a couple of days. Got lots of exciting stuff coming up in the next week or two. And I'm going to go put up a triple single. Couple of points, couple of rebounds, couple of assists, maybe even a couple of fouls. We'll see. All right, guys. Talk to y'all soon. Stay safe out there. Peace.